our Monday meeting and stuff, you know, they weren't even willing to talk to us, along with you, so.
Did we get anything?
Yeah,
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
did.
see it. Oh, I did. Same thing.
yeah, they said they weren't interested.
So are you making a proposal, Arlen, or did you want to set up a meeting to sit down, or what?
I think it'd be better, you know, if we could sit down together without the press and stuff, you know, so we could discuss prices and stuff like that.
Is that legal?
No.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the legal part is, but when you're talking contracting, I don't know what legally you have to do or not. We'd have to ask the solicitor. I guess what I would do is the same thing, put it in writing, so we can consult our solicitor.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll do that.
Anything else you got, Tim? Adam? Okay. Donald?
I don't know if you, does everybody have one?
Yeah, I think we do.
Your waiver request, yeah.
All right, I guess we should go through Mr. Dorwood is asking for for waivers in, you can see the first one, the recreation areas.
Have these been presented to the planning commission yet?
I think so. I'm not positive. I talked to the engineer, and he said I should bring this reports to the supervisor.
I don't know if they were actually,
I don't know, I have, with your packets, I have Gray Paus's comments as far as the waiver request he suggested that was needed.
Yeah, that's on me.
And also the meeting
Because I have
that,
everything else that I
meeting
have
that
to
was
do
with
except for
Robbie,
the
and
waivers.
then, when they went down to the road.
What's that, Don?
I have everything done, except I have the parts done up top that Greg wanted done. And I also got a letter from the Bureau of Forestry about the flower that was supposed to be up there.
Okay.
We had taken care of the turns from going in from Rock Street into the driveway, and now also up towards the cell tower. We wanted an excess of the driveway. So everything was done the way you wanted it. What we were waiting for was this flower deal. That's what I was waiting for.
So what are the plans you resubmit? Because I see according to the Lehigh engineer, there were 13 things. Now, I know some of them are these waivers that you're requesting in that 13 items. So there, did you resubmit to the engineer? You're saying they're all done?
He's seen the plans, right, the last plans?
He's here, yeah,
Yeah.
now,
So these are the ones that he wanted done, or so they should come and see about waivers. He said they were minor. Greg Halls.
yeah, he said these need to be requested, and then if you grant the waivers, they need to be put on the
Yeah,
plans.
that's the way we normally do it. What
Right.
waivers we grant and what we don't.
Steve couldn't be here because he's fighting. He's retired.
but that road isn't on there yet on that plan. The completed road.
Well, this is gonna have to get resubmitted.
Yes, that's gotta be, he's gonna do that tomorrow.
go to the planning commission first with the waivers.
Well,
Usually,
they've been there, but not the new ones.
The waivers.
These have been to your meeting. This one.
Well, take the waivers.
that's what I mean, the planning commission usually sees that first.
Yeah, and Corey
makes the
was up,
recommendations.
Corey was up on top and done the first, did the first round top.
Do you want it to go in front of them or on the table until then, or do you wanna?
As soon as I get this done, I have some checks I want to make out there, you, get our list about it, for it is tomorrow and I'll be,
Like I said, I don't know if this plan still has that road that we were gonna abandon.
Well, this is, he's just requesting for the waivers right now, so, that's all we're talking about, we're not talking about approving this or not.
Mhm.
So. We either grant them or we.
These three.
And then they still gotta put them on the plan and then send it back up to Turpac for final review.
And the road has to.
And the, well, that's one of them, that's number 13. Number 13. That's why I said, did you get all 13 of them done except for the waivers?
because you have to talk to Steve about that.
Okay.
I got this from him, and that's why I present. But there weren't many that, Greg had read off to me that, he said most of them were taken care of.
Okay, well, when you have your final plan, you'll have to resubmit it
Right,
up to Greg,
right,
and then he'll say it's all good or it's not.
right.
He'll have more comments. Do you wanna, should we go through them, or do you prefer?
Well, I have no problem with 1 and 3. Number 2, I would rather have his comments on it, Greg Haas.
Alright. Yeah, he didn't,
Now, when you're saying the maximum length of the access road, are we talking the one coming down the driveway, the dirt road, down to the barn? Is that what we're talking about there? Or are we talking about the one going up towards the cell tower?
of lot one.
If that's lot one, then it's the one going up
The
towards the
flag
cell
lot.
tower. What?
He's listing it as lot number 1, the flag
That
lot.
would be the big parcel. He's saying this.
That's up to the cell tower.
No, I think he's, because he's counting this.
This is the road here,
Yeah,
from here to here.
yeah.
That's the one we had to widen. Here's where we made
How
the
many
changes
feet
down
is it?
here, we made
Yeah.
the changes up here.
He's saying it's more than three.
So I had to take some from this lot.
Right.
To knock it down. This was closer to 3. Here's where we did the perking up in here. Well, it's not a cell tower, but right in here.
Yeah, I think he's talking this.
Yep.
Coming in here is more than 300 feet, which is what we call a flag lot. It's not supposed to be more than that. And Greg didn't give his carbon engineer to give an opinion on it. See, normally the engineer.
This says number 4.
Yeah.
That's, he says about it being exceeds the length.
How many hours did you say you had it?
I don't know, it was,
So what do you,
9
well, we
and
should
a
go
half.
through them in the, we could table it. Review. Table that one. Pending his, because he commented on the others, but he didn't comment.
That's fine.
All right, well then let's go through, okay, for the first waiver, he's requesting to basically give cash instead of land.
Correct. I have a question now on this, for this here. I got a map here, and it wasn't from Clay, it was from, This is the one from the, this road comes down to Rock Street. This is the part that Ralph Clay surveyed for me. He made 2 lots here, and this one here. And this one here was already done years ago. This part here, I want to put in with this part in here, and it's going to go down in through here, and over around in here. I want to keep this on both sides and over here. I have these parcels over here, these properties over here, all the way down to here. But then this one comes all the way down into here, and there's about 20-some acres down in here that I want to put on and make a park out of.
So what's your question?
This here, I didn't get surveyed yet, but it goes with this, with these 2 pieces here.
Right, yeah, that's what that line is, yeah. That's,
I want to put this in with this, and it's got to be a separate one, but I want to put it all in together. Because in order, everything on the stream, I want to keep as one part. On both
What,
sides.
in the future, you're saying, that's
Yeah,
not this?
Well, not right now, no, but in the future, yeah. There's too nice of an area that you can't build on there. And when I talked to him about that and showed him, the forestry, when they sent that, they were very, in fact, it didn't take them long to send that back. I said, I was gonna maintain that for that rare flower deal.
Okay.
And they definitely want to come up and see this area. There's 3 people down there want to come up. Jason, Debbie, and Suzanne.
Okay.
But they definitely want to see it. But
Alright,
you want to make
that's-
comments?
Yeah, I will.
So that's what I want to do. This is, do I have to have the same thing done here as I'm having done with these pieces here? These 2 and this one. Do I have to have the same amount of money for this one? Or is that all by itself because of the road furniture? I don't know. If I have to, then I'm gonna have to make it a check bigger.
Well, that would be when you do when you submit that one, that wouldn't be,
Well, I'm gonna be doing it shortly, because I want to
Right.
get this done, get it over with.
yeah, that, we gotta see what you're proposing.
There's not much to do
I
except,
can't call that,
Just this.
the engineer lets
Yeah.
us know what lots. Because if you're combining lots, I don't know how to.
well, I can combine them all, but they're gonna be different tracks that I'm
Yeah.
gonna put together. But
Okay.
they're gonna still be separate tracks, but I want to put in there that it can be built.
Right.
Okay, nothing can be built down there.
Okay.
I want to ruin it.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna have to be submitted to, your engineer will submit cards. Okay? All right, so what do we do with the recreation areas?
I'll make a motion to request that, or to
Except,
accept that waiver.
I'll second. All in favor on that?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now the second one, maximum length of access roads exceeds the flag lot length of 300 feet. They're requesting a waiver. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to table it until we get the information from the engineer.
I agree, Paul.
Okay, all in favor of tabling it, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So what we'll have to do is, what we're saying is we want to get the
I understand.
engineers.
I
He didn't
understand.
comment, either he missed it or you didn't tell him, or, I see it's on your notes, but there's no comment, so that's, we just want to hear his comments, that's what we're saying, okay?
All right.
So that's tabled. Contour lines, he wants a waiver from the contour lines.
I'll make a motion to grant the waiver for the contour lines.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so you'll have to wait for the third one, or that, which is technically the second one.
Will he be getting this tomorrow? Brenda?
But, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Just let him know we want the
Yeah,
comments
I can
on
talk
that,
to him tomorrow.
what his opinion is on that, if there's anything. And then you did see, when you're gonna have to put them on the one of the things is you put them on the print, then the waivers we granted.
On-
They go on the plan then. It's in your,
On this?
your last note.
Okay.
The last.
Well, then
thing.
Steve knows exactly what.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Greg's last thing. Any waivers granted by the board of this plan should be listed on the plan. Okay, so just wait for that last one before you do
No,
that.
we'll do it.
Okay?
Alright. You know what, I really don't need that paper, you can do that at your convenience, provided Steve has it.
Oh, okay, the flower, okay. He's, I put him next, by the way.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, excuse me, Rob.
Anybody else?
One question, when you tabled that, is that tabled till next month, or just until the engineer gets back to you next week, or a couple days?
Well, till next, we can't make a decision until the next meeting.
Till
It's
the whole next
tabled.
month? You don't
Yeah.
meet in between, if there's something like that that happens, you just stuck in limbo?
Yeah. All right, anybody else?
I got one question, now, this, if he says okay,
Mm-hmm.
then it goes to the planning commission, and then it comes to you. And then it's done, if everybody agrees with it.
Well, if, as long as you have all the comments.
And all the bills are paid.
Yeah, and all the bills are paid, yeah. But you gotta satisfy those, that's what I think, you gotta satisfy
Yeah, yeah, I
13.
understand that, but I mean, if we
13.
can get this together,
Yeah,
by next month at this time, everything should be steady, okay?
if you get it all done, yeah.
Okay.
If your engineer
That
gets it
sounds
done,
good.
he's gotta do, you got a lot of work though, but, you know, but
Yeah,
I think the biggest one is the 13, you know, getting that road straightened out. I forget what it said on there.
the road we're talking about going up towards the cell tower, that's the one you're talking
No,
about?
the
right?
vacating, the informational vacating.
Or you mean the one coming down to Mike, to the
Yeah.
barn?
Yeah. What is it?
It's number 6, I think.
Oh, it's 6. Yeah, that's just a name for the street, but then 13 says that
13.
the solicitor shall review the acknowledgement of reverse road dedication statement. Okay.
in
So I
other
know
words,
there's some
the,
stuff your engineer's gonna get our solicitor.
which is Byers? You the one who has to do this? Byers? Or who's your solicitor?
No, Schwab,
Schwab, okay.
yeah. So your engineer should know what to do on that to get that taken care of. Okay?
Okay?
Jared?
Yeah, let's talk about last month's towing ordinance
Yeah.
and the fact that it's illegal. How do you want to start?
Go ahead.
You have to call tower number 1 first, who's Frank's, tower number 2 second, who's Schlier's. Aren't they the same company?
Yeah. Should be.
Now show me where there's a Frank's Service Center tow truck out there.
There ain't.
It's not,
Says
is
there.
there? Well, I know he sold it 15 years ago.
I think it's that way, Frank's and
No.
then Sears and
Good.
then.
I'm
Schlier's owns
on
it.
For your 90-day extension too, but that's.
It goes Frank's, Schlier's, Wentz. You have to call Frank's first, you have to call Schlier's second, you have to call Wentz third.
Anyhow, get the,
Which way was it, Frank's first?
Frank's, Schlier's, and then Wentz.
Gotta keep it. He's getting all these.
So show me where Frank's has a tow truck. Show me why you have to call them first.
argue about that.
Why isn't it a fair and equal towing rotation?
Get that, I'll wait till he looks at this and says it, and let me know how much it's gonna be.
And what happened to the meeting you had with them last time when you said it was okay to call who you want as long as it was, the road was cleared in a timely manner? What was wrong with that meeting?
Well, we had some issues and then.
What was the issues?
Contacted our solicitor. People aren't listening and
Listening to what?
just to what the protocol, I guess is.
What's the protocol?
That's
We're-
what we defined right there.
Well, that's an illegal protocol.
Well, then our solicitor wrote it up, so I'm just telling you what he did, so if it's illegal.
So you're just gonna let it go with the solicitor wrote it up, it's okay?
Well, he's our legal counsel,
Okay. Well, then he'll be defending you guys in court then, correct?
correct,
Okay.
yes,
Because it's gonna go to court.
that's all right.
And your company that you choose to be number one already has a case law for the same sort of deal where they won $3.25 million from the state police. It's already given.
Okay, well, that's, I'm not a
So what was,
lawyer. I'm
you're not a lawyer.
Well, that's why we have.
But where'd the input come from? He didn't just pull this crap out of the air. Where'd the input come from? That he has to call these people first.
Well, we made a list of.
You made a list up. So you didn't know Franks and Schlier's were the same company.
Well, how was Frank's? I thought they were small.
Yeah, I thought they had their own truck.
No, Frank's is owned by Schlier's. Frank doesn't own anything. Jimmy Schlier owns it.
Well,
He lives in
I guess if you
Tannersville.
call Frank's, you won't.
Frank's the
know.
manager. So how, if you guys didn't know, why did you submit information? Didn't anyone do research? Was the ordinance listed in the paper that you were going to be adopting this ordinance? Was it?
I thought so, I don't know for sure. I
Yep.
have to look.
You have to get copies of that. I mean, how can you adopt an ordinance that you don't know any information about?
Adopted the ordinance, that's who Frank's was always, I just assumed Frank's is Frank's.
You assumed.
It's
Yeah.
not.
You know what happens when you assume?
It's a yeah, it's not an ordinance, it's
not
a
an
policy,
ordinance.
that's
A
right. It's
policy.
not-
Oh,
it's
I'm
not an
sorry.
ordinance.
An
We don't
ordinance
have, that's right.
has to be published, but a policy, I don't believe has to be published.
Oh, okay. But it's still illegal. And it's still incorrect information. So you're just gonna let the policy go?
Well, we can look into it, so you're saying Frank's is not a business?
Not, you don't,
What are you saying?
like, you don't know that.
Well, I always know it as Frank's Service Station.
Right, and what's the
And I
tow
thought-
trucks that come out of there?
Well, there's Frank's and Schlier's.
Aren't they in the same building?
Yeah, well, you can have plumbers and electricians.
Doesn't matter.
So what's your point? What do you want us to do?
The point is, it should be a fair and equal towing rotation. You can't make somebody use one tower first. You're telling the police they have to call this guy first. If he doesn't answer, you gotta call the same company twice, and then you can call a third company. That's illegal. You're creating a monopoly for one guy. What favors are coming in your pockets that you're letting one guy get all the tows out of this township?
None, because if you looked at the next policy, there's the next policy is no gifts.
Okay.
So we also did that policy.
Let me ask you a question, what's the penalty for the first policy being violated? If the guy doesn't call them first, what's your penalty to the police?
It gives us a policy that they can be disciplined.
If they didn't, so what would the policy be? It would be discipline.
Right.
What's the discipline? Is
We
it
didn't-
defined?
We didn't define
So
it.
what's the discipline of taking a gift? Is there one for that as well?
You can be terminated, is the
Probably
bottom
not.
line. You can be terminated for
The
either
point is,
one.
if you have a
You have a
bid for,
policy.
if you have a bid for a contract service, then it's a level playing field, everybody bids for that service and they go down a path.
Mhm.
You didn't do that. You physically chose one that you guys liked arbitrarily and unfairly, and that's the point.
Well, we had, again, you gotta,
You should either pull the policy until you decide and not let Schwab decide your policy. You're the one that decides the policy. And then you ask Schwab, how do we exercise it? He works for you.
Yeah, it's gonna
You
be a little
guys
bit dominant
run the
township.
show, right? I mean, you're the elected official.
Okay.
right.
He's just your advisor. So you can't let him take the lead.
Okay.
Well, he tells us
You
what's
can't-
legal
you
and what's.
can't let him tell you anything of what to do.
Well, I'd rather have his opinion than yours.
I agree.
He's a lawyer, and I value his
You
opinion
don't
as
know why-
legally,
Why don't you get
legally,
somebody else?
You don't know
not
how to
opinion.
bit.
You don't know if I have a lawyer, do you?
Well, you're not our lawyer, so
Not
no.
yours. But my point is that you don't, you can take advice of his,
Correct.
but not take direction from him. Right, you leave the direction, he gets advice. He gives you the map, and then you decide whether you want to take it or not. You can drive to the end result any way you want to get
We'll
there.
contact him and
But you gotta lead the show, otherwise, you know, you gotta ask him the right question. Well, I mean, all these guys that work for you, it's the same way. You're the ones that are supposed to be taking the lead for the benefit of the township, which is the next question I was gonna ask you. Is, when you guys make a decision, is it for the benefit of the township as an entity, or is it the benefit of the citizens that are inside the township that elected you?
I suggested to have Frank's because we take our vehicles up there for inspection.
Oh, so you're giving them everything?
No, not everything. You don't get every board, get some of our work.
Mm-hmm. So just because he does your inspections, you suggest he should do your towing? Because he pays a lot of taxes, right? Or does he?
I don't know what taxes he pays. Do you know what he pays?
Probably the same amount I pay, don't you think?
Oh, okay.
I'm a taxpayer here, aren't I?
Yeah.
So what brought all this forward? I know what brought it forward. The fact that I was towing in the township.
No, Jared, it's not about you.
Really?
It's not.
Really, Rod?
No,
Really? You don't think that's what happened?
no.
You don't think because I got a couple calls in this township and Frank called and complained that you've made this towing? You don't think that's what happened? Because I know it's what happened. So I'm not allowed to tow in the township because I'm only a house taxpayer. Is that what it is?
No.
I'm
Get on the list.
Oh, so I can be number 4 to be called.
Well, if
All right.
it's the same, then.
Oh, I'll just move up to number 3.
Anything else? I'm not gonna argue with you.
What?
I'm not gonna argue.
Answer
with
the
you.
questions.
I'm not answering it. I'm not gonna get into a pissing match. If you got.
You already started the pissing match. I'm just trying to get the answers out of you.
I said we'll look into that. We're gonna call the solicitor and let him know what's going on here. And see, you say it's illegal, we'll find out what's illegal.
And when are we going to know this?
Call him and talk to him.
When's it going to be known? When's the information going to be known, what you found out?
Well, hopefully we have it for next month's meeting.
Yeah.
So from now to then, they have to call this guy. So
We'll have an answer.
coming into the winter months, he gets everything out of Franklin Township.
We'll call him tomorrow. And then we'll go on his advice.
Don't you think the policy should be rescinded until you know what's going on?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Of course you
Do
don't.
you? Any of you
Why
guys?
would you rescind the policy?
You guys have an opinion?
We'll hopefully get
We'll find
our
out.
attorney's decision tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's for the best of the township, is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Just because one person don't agree with it, don't mean I'm gonna change.
I don't agree with it either.
I don't agree with it either. And
Well, I look at it this way, I know your garage is what up in Penn Forest.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, if I'd have an accident,
Yeah.
I'd sooner have it towed over here than all the way up to Penn Forest.
I'm that far away from the township line?
You're further away from Frank's as from
Am I?
there.
From the township line at Moyer Road, if there was an accident, if there's...
Where I live,
No,
I'd sooner
no,
have
if
it
there was a
towed.
Franklin Township accident at the township line, is it that much farther to go to my shop
I
than
don't
back
know
is
if
to
it or
Frank's?
not, Jared.
I'm just asking.
It is where I live from, it is.
Yeah?
I'm talking the next day when my car's in an accident, I have to go get it picked up. I gotta run all the way up there opposed to Wentz's or Frank's.
Is that the criteria to which you made the decision?
No, but that's my personal opinion. I'd rather be picking it up over here than way up there. No offense, I don't know.
But no offense, but
Is that
if
personal
your
to
car
you?
was crashed, are you picking it up? Or is the insurance company mostly picking it up?
Don't know.
Either or, I might have to go there to get my personal belongings. You have to do that most likely if it's
Somebody that
stolen.
lived up there.
I'd rather go across the highway and get it than all the way up 903.
But if you have an accident in
My
Franklin
opinion.
Township,
So,
My
residents,
opinion.
it's not only residents that wreck
I was
in
just
Franklin
gonna
Township.
so you're saying only Franklin
Oh,
Township
anybody
residents
can-
crash in Franklin Township?
If you crash, you can call anybody.
Well, but if I'm in Penn Forest Township and he's my neighbor,
You can call them.
where his shop is, I'm
You
just
can
saying.
call
I'm not worried about that.
We're not saying it has to be, that's if
Oh,
the
they-
people
It's not
don't
just the towing,
request.
it's the storage.
So let's say the guy's unconscious and he goes in an ambulance, you guys have to call Frank's.
Well, that's the policy.
And then their tow truck's not gonna come out because they don't own the tow truck, but they're gonna answer the phone and send their other tow truck with Schleer's out for it. I know it's...
Well, that's what
I understand.
We'll call them and we'll see what's, you say in the rotation, I'll talk to him, but I don't know about that. I don't think.
You'll know about that.
I don't think he would've wrote it up, knowing it's illegal.
So knowing it's illegal, you're
I
just gonna...
said, I don't think our solicitor would've wrote it up knowing it's illegal. He's a lawyer, I don't think he would write
Well, is he
the
a,
policy.
is he a lawyer that knows about towing? Is he specialized in the towing industry? Or is he specialized in what you guys had him write?
I can't answer it. don't know what is special.
He had to have something to go off of. He didn't just pull this out of his head. So he got the information from somebody,
Right,
which would be you guys.
right.
So he just wrote it the way you guys wanted it wrote up.
Well, we wanted a towing policy.
Wrote it the way you wanted it.
He wrote it up.
Okay.
We approved it.
And none of you thought that that this would be illegal. Because none of you checked because you don't know the industry. Don't you think you should have someone specialized look at it?
That'd be- We have a solicitor, that's our solicitor.
Apparently he's not that good.
That's your opinion,
He's just
Jared.
saying he's just
Jared,
saying,
that's your opinion, who's to
isn't he
say
the
you're
same
right?
guy that wrote the Indian Hill
I got
Ordinance
a
3 times?
recommendation, Jared, sue us, that's what I recommend.
Wait, that costs us money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
He
that costs
can
us
sue
money.
us, he can sue us, it's his opinion,
Anybody
he's not a lawyer, I would rather go by my lawyer's, our solicitor's opinion.
I would rather you table it
I would rather you rescind
than to get a
it.
lawsuit and cost us money. Table it for a month, put it on hold.
And who do you pay when the lawsuit comes? Schwab, who just created the chaos,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
So Schwab creates chaos so that you guys get to pay him to defend the chaos that he helped you create.
Not the
Because he
first
didn't advise
attorney
you
who
in the
made
best
a
interest of
mistake.
the township.
I thought we tried tabling it before and it just keeps on going, so I'm getting a little tired of it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be
You
the
said
first
we're
attorney
tabling
that made a
it, table it,
mistake.
and that's it.
Well, table it, then rescind it until it's tabled.
I have a completely different question. It sounds the same, but it's not. Does the township have a responsibility to do things in the best interest of the township or to the citizens? What have you guys decided in and amongst yourselves that as a board, as a solicitor, that
To
you
the
say, I'm gonna
township.
do things?
We say to the township, not a 2 or 3 people.
Right, so you wanna do it
Everybody.
for the benefit?
4,000
Well, when you say the word township, hold on, the township is
some people.
but the township's an entity, and then you have the citizens.
Right.
So are you talking about the benefit of the township, meaning this building and the people within it and the people that work here and the people that do things here, or the benefit of the citizens that
The citizens.
that
everybody.
service that?
Right.
Okay. So the fees are all made in the best interest of the citizens. The decision on the police are made in the best interest of the citizens.
Correct.
The maintenance on this building is best interest of the citizens. And when you hire subcontractors, it's in the best interest of the citizens.
Right.
Do you have a fiduciary responsibility in that regard? Have you made an oath to say, these decisions will be done in this area, and if I find out that the citizens make something different, that we will exercise what the citizens want us to do? Have you taken that oath to say,
Yeah,
look, you know
but
what, we
yeah.
got elected, we wanna do it that way?
Yeah, and that's why you have elections. If you don't like it,
No,
then
no,
you
no,
vote
no,
us
no,
out.
you get elected to do something,
Right.
but then if you do
But just
it,
because we don't agree with your way.
Not
because
my
you-
way.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes,
not what
it
I'm
is.
asking.
Yes, it is.
That is
Yeah,
not
we all
what I'm
took an oath of office.
Yes.
you took an oath of, and that oath of office said that you were
Right.
gonna do what?
What's good for the community.
For the citizens associated with the township.
Right.
Right, so then the next part of that puzzle is, in the event that you find out, not what I think or he thinks or that person thinks or she thinks it's close, so that's got your ear. The question is, if the citizens find out that the citizens would like you to go a different way, does your oath obligate you towards that direction? Or do you get to say, hey, I'm the elected official, I can do whatever the hell I want? That's the question. Will you use the citizens' information for your benefit to make sure that you are doing what they elected you to do as your oath? Or will you say, hey, they don't have all the information, I'll make the best decision, that's why they elected me, and it's my job to do it? Which path of those two will you guys take?
I'm gonna say it's both.
No, it's
Because
one or the other.
there are.
I'll listen to your opinion,
I
put
understand,
it
but
with
that
mine
doesn't-
and go from there.
But the
I mean,
question
we
is,
listened to Jared, so we're gonna call the solicitor tomorrow and find out more about it, and we'll go from there.
or you'll listen to Frank's opinion, or whoever's closest for his situation, but we're not talking about that, we're talking about big picture. As a board, the question becomes simple. Did you or did you not take an oath to do what the citizens need in their best interest? And how did you calculate that? Or did you figure it out for what you three felt was in the best interest of the town? Are you elected to represent the people,
Yes.
or were you elected to service the people by doing a job for them?
I represent the people.
So if the people make a decision, the people, in
But
the total.
I'm not gonna agree with if the person makes a wrong decision.
Well, wait, it's a function of,
If it
if
is
the
or not,
people,
I don't
if the
know
people as a whole vote on something, if you put it out on a referendum per se, you would do what the people asked. even if you felt it was wrong of them to make that decision, self-destruct. And your goal would be to give them the information,
Right,
either in a way or in a benefit that would help them for their best interest,
right.
okay? Schwab takes that oath to you as well, it's called a fiduciary responsibility, right? But only if you ask him properly does he have to help you properly. Make sense? Same with your zoning officer, does he have an oath to do things for the best interest of the applicant? And did you make that a responsibility, or do you say, here's the code, enforce the hell out of it, have fun, that's your job?
The zoning officer has to follow the laws, like a police officer, you can't say,
Best
well,
interest of
you
the-
murdered them, but it's not in the best interest of us to throw you in jail because it's gonna cost millions of dollars through your life. Well, then everybody should not be arrested. It's a law, there's law.
At which point, correct, at which
Right.
point the question then becomes, is the law exercised in the best interest of the applicant? Or is the law exercised in the best interest of the lawyer, the zoning officer, the township, and the other people that make more money off of that person when they can find a way to use the law for their benefit? Whose benefit are they exercising all? They still gotta not break it, but for whose benefit? What is the motivation of that decision? Has that been contractually obligated through a series of decisions that allow you then to exercise discipline when the person doesn't do it? For instance, if Captain Bells decides he's gonna start ticketing everybody that drives 46 miles an hour instead of 45, he has the right to exercise that law. And as he does it, do you, as his supervisors of that contract that you have for the police, say, hey, so that we don't go into court every day on your calibration, let's make it 5 over before you start giving everybody a ticket? Do you give him that policy or that guidance to make sure you have a working relationship with the police department? Same deal, right? You have to have some control. You're the three that was elected by this community, the people, to govern and oversee so that these little discrepancies don't get in the way. Can you imagine if you had a officer that acted in that direction? How it would cause trouble, hurt a community, cause problems. Do you?
I don't think none of our officers would ticket a mile an hour.
I didn't say they would. I said in the event
wouldn't
this is a
step in if they're
theoretical.
5 miles an hour, if they're doing their job, that's what
I
they're
don't-
supposed to be
Completely,
doing.
but do you understand the philosophical question? Is the supervisors elected by the people to help the benefit of the people that they self-govern? Or is it, once you decide, hey, this is a great idea, we're a little short on our budget, hey, Tommy, go hit everybody for a mile over, we need some money.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I know you won't do it. Philosophically, you have that right, correct? Philosophically, he has that right.
No,
I don't think
we can't tell them to
tell
do
them.
anything, they have rights. We can't mandate anything to the police officer. We
Yeah, you
can't
just
tell
told them
to
they're gonna
do
use that towing policy.
We can't give them quotas, is what I'm saying on the speeding.
It's not quota, it's just, hey, make sure you really enforce this down to the letter of the law. It's a question. Will you understand that there's a differential between the attitude and motivation associated with the fiduciary responsibility to the citizens to make sure that that never takes place? Now, there's nothing that obligates you other than your oath.
Right.
I would like to suggest that the supervisors, as a whole, change that oath to put some teeth into that responsibility. So that if you get a bunch of knuckleheads up there, we have a little bit more responsibility as citizens to buck that back. Same with the idea that if you're gonna make a decision like closing a police department, that is a decision that affects everybody, and rather than just listen to this 12 people in the room that yell, you actually have 700 people or 800 people actually making that decision. Same thing for your zoning office, you should obligate him by contract to do things in the best interest of the applicant, rather than just the best interest of the law, or the best interest of the township, or his best interest, or the lawyer's best interest. I mean, if he makes decisions based against the best interest of the applicant, as if the applicant is the one that hired him, right?
No,
I'm saying that if you make that responsibility, there would be a benefit to the citizens.
No.
as a zoning officer, he's here to enforce,
Correct. To
The
the best
laws.
interest, you
not
can't
necessarily
violate
to the
it.
best interest of the applicant,
Why would he not be doing things that don't violate the law, but still in the best interest of the
he's
applicant?
making sure they follow the rules.
But again, the rules have some are arbitrarily written different answers that you can say, you know what? Hey, if, right now, let's say you're putting posts in the ground. You know, you're putting posts in the ground. If you put a footer in, you need to buy a permit, you need to do this, this, and this. This is the problem, this is the zoning ordinance, this is what's gonna happen. Here's how it works. Now, if you don't wanna put a post in the ground, you put a post on the ground, hey man, we don't touch nothing. You'll save yourself a fortune. How long you leaving this tent up or this hut up for your wedding or your picnic? And the answer is, hey man, leave it up for the weekend. Well then hold on a second, don't go down that path. It'll save you here, it'll save you there. Let me give you that advice. And then the guy gets to make the decision, nope, I want the permit, I want to put footers, I want to do it, or does he not? Now, depending on the opportunity of that individual, they're supposed to be doing things in their best interest. If I ask him to tow my car, right, he says, hey, I can take it to, as a gentleman, he'll say, hey, I can take it to my shop, or I'll drop it off at Frank's for you if you want. He can do one or the other. I mean, that's his job as tower. I mean, when I get my car towed, I want them dropped off at not the localist shop. I'll pay a couple bucks. I want to go to where I'm going to get it fixed or where I'm going to get it done.
Right.
So I don't get the oh, by the way, we have a $200.
We have.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I told my great. I got a whole bunch of kids that get in lots of time. But the idea is that the point is that you have a working relationship, and the person that I hire to do whatever the job is, or that I elect, should be making decisions in the best interest of the person that actually is asking for the service. Since you guys are missing that, we'd like you to add that into the ordinances, add it into the supervisor's code, and into the responsibility, so that not only the 3 people that are there now, but in the future, if other people are sitting up there, that we remove that authority and power and make sure that the people have it, because that's where freedom comes from. And that's what we're missing around here. Everybody's got this little tidbit going on that, hey, I got a buddy, I can call him, and I got a buddy, and I can call him. I know we pay you very little to be a supervisor, and there is some stroke associated with being a supervisor. We just want to make sure it's in the best interest of the entire community, not just a couple individuals that may or may not have a personal attitude. And by having that oath is usually enough. That character steps in and they make decisions for that reason. Will you guys accept that responsibility and make that in the ordinance, written up, so that you and everyone that you hire, whether it's the plower or the tower or the zoning or the UCC guy or anybody, is doing things in the best interest of the applicant? There's value to it to all of us. And in this day and age, to do referendums and get information impact from the people in the community, really inexpensive. I mean, 100 years ago, it would have cost you a fortune to do it. Do you guys have enough character to relinquish that swing for you and everyone else in the future? Will you fall on that sword a little bit, enough to say, hey man, I'm not in this for me, I'm in it for the community?
I don't know how that can,
It's easy. You step up and you say, this is what I want.
yeah, but then every little decision that we would make, we'd have to be like, oh.
No.
We gotta
only-
have a referendum. So
Absolutely not.
I'm saying, I think,
Absolutely not. You'd only have the obligation
I've been
to
doing everything
document.
for the public since day one,
Nope.
since I've been in here, and I've been here since 2000.
Right?
And if I'm not doing a good job, the people should vote me out.
Correct, but you're not,
Get
you're not,
somebody better.
you're not obligated to do that. Just like if you're a manager of a shop and you're running that division, that business unit, or this business unit, or you're an attorney, or you're a computer programmer, or whatever you are, you have a responsibility to document what you're doing and why you did it. If he's saying that he called Frank's, he writes why. And then if someone shows up as to why, he writes why. And then if information comes available to you that adds to that decision, you show up in a meeting and then you make a decision for the best interest of the people. Say, hey, you know what? You're right. I can't let anybody do this. And there's value. And then it adds to the best interest of the community. Without everyone second guessing your decisions, you're basically just documenting what you're doing so that as a future, everybody that goes into this chair that you're sitting up there, from now until the dawn of time, will improve the freedom and ability of the citizens to self-govern through 3 supervisors. Because let's face it, if you made a decision on who's gonna plow, right, no one's gonna question that opinion as long as you have some justification. But if you're gonna hire the guy by the hour, and then there's no supervisor over top of him, and then this guy shows up and says, hey, who's watching that guy that you hired by the hour using our taxpayer money? Because I saw him taking a 3-hour break over at Platz's when it was snowing and I was stuck. and he comes to you and says, hey, what's the contract say? And you say, well, here's what it is, we did it with the best interest, Schwab, he said this was good, and then you learn to improve it. You don't have to worry about being mad at this guy for voicing out, and you don't have to be mad at the guy for taking advantage of the contract. You gave him a loophole and you let him use it. Take the loophole away from him as time becomes available. That's making decisions based upon a set of factual data as it becomes available to you for the best interest of the people. Not, hey man, that's my buddy, him and I were the one drinking over at classes.
And then that's all sounds good and dandy, but then you have a guy like Jared who says there's case law, and then we're sued.
Well, wait,
So now,
but if you have
can't
case
have it
law,
both ways.
hold on, yes you can.
No, you
Because
can't.
if you're
No, you
making
can't.
things for the,
You
wait,
can't have a zoning
can.
officer and say you can, the best interest of him, because of course the best interest of that applicant is to do nothing.
No, no,
to
no, no.
avoid
You
the
still have to
laws.
follow the law.
But we got
just like you gotta hire a towing.
responsibilities.
Well, no, you still have
As a
responsibilities.
township, we have responsibilities to also protect the people from a better,
It's a tough job,
it's
but the
from
reality is.
stupidity, I guess is the word
Yeah,
I'm
exactly
looking
right,
for.
yours or ours.
Right.
So
yeah.
here's the point about it, when you put the two minds together going in a common goal, you take the advantage away from stupidity.
Right.
At which point, if you're making a case law for a policy that's illegal, and you guys don't know what you're doing, you recognize that, wait, I have a responsibility. Is this case law? So the question you ask Schwabe is not, can I do this policy and how do I do it? The question is, what do we need to know, Bill? And then when he asks you, you can make sure that he's acting in our best interest by asking him the right questions. The key is to build a team and ask him the right questions. It's not necessarily that you have all the answers. And by asking those questions, the community works better. Now, we've given this same speech to every supervisor group that we found, and it's amazing the number of people that never really got that because the dogma over time has kind of migrated ourselves away from this. So it's time to kind of steer this back. Now, we've been videotaping all these meetings everywhere, and we're watching it happen very slowly, and it's the supervisors and the solicitors that are kind of steering this vehicle off course, and we're the ones that end up paying all the time. And every time you make a mistake, we pay, and every time you do this, you pay. And the more chaos and confusion you create, the more we pay. Whereas if you work with us, we can help you. And then you're actually getting credit for listening and credit for making good decisions, which puts you in a different seat. So it's not us on this side of the table and you on that side of the table, it's us on a big round table. And I think that's the respect that you want to earn by taking that spot and the responsibility since 2000. And that's what you're going to get, that's how you're going to get it. But until then, you're always going to be one side, the other side, and you're going to buck and fight each other. And yes, if this guy has a great idea, I don't care if it's one guy. If he has a great idea, use it. If it really vets out to be a good idea. If it vets out to be a horrible idea, then that's fine. And if you need to ask other people, you ask them. And in this community, it is a pretty easy way to do it, if you take the lead. And no, you're not doing democracy, because democracy is basically 3 wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner, right? Or deciding who's for dinner. But if you ask those questions of saying, how do I become fiduciarily responsible to the township for the benefit of the township, you'll see a whole bunch of changes just mentally that'll take place, and you'll prevent it from everyone else that ever sits in that seat.
Have we beat this horse long enough? We moving on?
I wrote that down, we'll call the solicitor and we'll ask him what he needs to know. Okay.
Not ask him, you're gonna tell him what you wanna do, and now you ask him how to do it. That's the difference. If you ask him what I'm gonna do, he's gonna steer you way away from this. There's no value, no financial benefit to him.
About this, the better, so it's better for the community.
We'll be glad to sit in and advise with you if you'd like to have the meeting, to make sure that you're asking the lawyer the right questions in the right way, so that he is directed towards your best interest, not his. It's free. Like we should all do.
All right, that's what we're gonna do.
Thanks.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Yes. I'd like to ask Arlen here, why are you coming to Franklin Township for police service? Is state police coverage not good enough for you? Is it not up to par or what?
You know, if you ever lived in Whiteford or hung around Williamsport, but, every time you call the
Time
state.
out, first of all.
Well, this is going on. You talked about. you
We're in
gave-
Franklin
hey,
Township, go to Westport and ask them, please, you're on our time now, on this township's time.
You talked about disbanding. I don't know where you're at with that. I see in the budget ahead, you have a capital police fund. So I'm guessing, I don't know if there's $1 in there, I don't know if there's $2 million in there. I don't know the numbers. But obviously, state police coverage isn't that good. I don't know where you're at, if you are or you aren't. He's coming to use. So you maybe should look into it, if you can get more money, to maybe hire more guys to serve everybody.
I know what they're going through, because we're going through the same thing. The
And you
numbers
are.
are getting out of control, and we're trying to,
But
we're all
back
looking
to
for
this
ways
also, I have a
to
question for you.
find out to
Last
make
year, you were talking about money woes. Last year was garbage, you were looking to save the residents money and trying to subcontract, correct? The Mack garbage truck that you guys denied the bid for 6 years ago, he's won at $9,000, the bid came in at 6,500 or whatever. Is that still sitting up back, or is it sold?
It's sitting up back yet.
So money's not an issue here then, we
We
have,
started tearing the cylinders off, we got the tires for it, the cylinders match the new garbage truck we have.
but it's still sitting up there, I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
put it up for auction, put it on municipal bid, get something for it. My last question, I don't want to tie up, I have to get going, is, last Tuesday I was off of work. I went to Marsden's, went to the fire company, drove all around the township, I didn't see a police car out in the road. Was there police service on Veterans Day on the holiday?
I don't think
No,
so, no,
there was
Why wasn't there any police service on Veterans Day?
because we gave them the day off, it's a holiday. Did you work Veterans Day?
No, but I'm not a public service, you just talked about
We don't
public,
have 24-hour coverage.
and why don't we? You have
We
four-
never
you
did,
have-
we never did.
You have 4 part-time officers, correct?
Yeah, they're on their thing, they're not.
You have 4 part-time officers, you have 4 full-time officers, that's a full complement to cover 24/7. That's enough people to cover 24/7, 365.
Well, them
We never
part-time
did.
officers never, they're not, they can
They're
go
not
in
on the-
when they can. It's not a,
So why do you have them on the books though, if they're just gonna work whenever they can? How many shifts do these, to be honest with you, I'm on the fire company, I see the police a lot. I see the 4 full-timers all the time, but I never see any of these part-time guys.
They come in, on certain days when like the police are off on vacation, they'll come in occasionally, they're filled by when the chief.
But what I'm getting at here is, do you have a criteria for them to work?
When needed, yeah.
So if I work 1 shift a year, and I'm a part-time officer, that's a burden to us as a taxpayer for the part-timer that wants to work 200 shifts a year. You still have to get him a vest, you supply them with guns,
We have a certain amount of goods, right? We
you're
have-
paying liability,
we have
you're
so
paying
many
liability
guns.
insurance.
we had
on
a
that?
we had a part-time guy work today. He works for Palmerton also. I think he has his own vest and his own gun.
We only
Yeah,
have
one
vests for
works
the
today.
full-timers.
But what your part-time police officer, what I'm getting at here is, if you have a guy that only works 4 shifts a year, why are you paying the liability and for the vest and for the gun and for the uniform and for the cleaning of the uniform for a guy that's only gonna work 4 times a year? Why don't you just put criteria in there that you have to work so many shifts a year to get the best bang of the buck for the guy?
We have our part-timers, we lose them, I don't know who you're referring to as 1 or 2. We have part-timers and they work for other municipalities and they fill in when they can, when we need them. But we never, ever had 24-hour coverage, 7 days a week, ever.
But,
And it's not in our budget, we don't have that in our budget. It's not in the budget. And the budget's going up, and that's why he's in here, because I know what he's going through, the same thing we're going through. Dollars are getting tight, costs are going up.
but
and
dollars
you're
must
trying
not
to
be getting
figure out
tight when you
how
have a couple $1,000s of a garbage truck sitting in the back that's been there for a year now. So in a year's worth of time, you just couldn't strip the cylinders off and get rid of the rest of it? I know it's not police money, but it still goes into the fund of the township. So if that's $2,000-3,000 that went into the general, then that's $2,000-3,000 that can be used somewhere else.
Why did you guys give up the aggressive driving?
because we didn't get, it don't benefit us.
How did it not benefit
Like,
you?
not
The
benefit,
state pays
it
the time and you get half the ticket money back. How did it not benefit you?
We don't get half the ticket money back.
darn near half the ticket
No,
money.
you don't.
Are you
You're
making that decision,
misinformed.
are you making
You're
a decision again based upon the benefit to the township or the benefit to the citizens? It sounds like it'd be a great idea that on Labor Day, when everybody's home, or any other holidays that, or, Veterans Day, or Memorial Day, or Christmas, that you have some coverage, because that's when people are home and when they need the police the most. Why would you take them off the day when they're gonna be around and you need them? Is that a decision you make because of finances for your benefit, to make it easier for you to balance the budget? Or do you make that for the benefit of all these people in this town that count on that service to be there when they need it? I mean, if a guy has a heart attack on Veterans Day, is he waiting for the state police guy to show up? Or who else is
Like I
calling
said,
in?
we don't have 24-hour coverage. It's no different than the day the cop takes a vacation day and we don't have coverage. You know, we do the best we can with the amount of money we have.
Yeah.
We don't have 365-day coverage, and we won't.
But
It's
a
not in
day
the
shift for
cards.
the day that everybody's home, you don't have a day shift?
Not every day, no. Today, there wasn't a cop on today, day shift.
Yeah, their hunts came in late.
He said they had a part-timer. Okay.
Yeah, later in the day.
Do you plan to have police coverage on Thanksgiving and/or Christmas? Those 2 days.
On Thanksgiving, no.
That's the number 2 day of the year for heart attacks. Number
not-
2.
But,
Wait a minute. So, we're gonna rely on 4th due or 5th due out of the Light Ambulance to respond to Green Street. We don't have a QRS anymore. At least we could get a policeman out there.
But they don't have
doing
AEDs.
CPR. Well, they at least know how to do CPR, and if they don't, I'll teach them.
I think they sent the AD back, didn't they?
Yeah, actually, Lee Heighton Fire Company donated AEDs, and you sent them back. Correct?
Our police department did, I guess, right?
Don't you monitor what your police
They
department
donated
does?
them.
Yeah, it's who's in the best, it's in the best interest of the citizen.
Now, if an officer needs an AED, and there is none there, and he dies, now that's on your workman's comp insurance, and that's on your liability insurance. Why wouldn't you have AEDs in cars, even if you don't use them for the public, just for your own officers? Get with the times.
Well, make decisions for the best interest of the community, not just,
Manage
Every time you
is-
make a decision, you guys make it sound like it's so easy, but when
It
we're
is.
here, we only got X amount of dollars. And if we do every day, 365 days a year, and get all these
Okay,
part-timers in,
so-
we have no money, then we can't pick up
So
the
let me,
garbage.
let me
and
ask
we
you,
can't
let
run
me
this
ask you a
thing.
question, Rod.
So we're
Okay.
doing the best
So
we
you,
can.
you gave the police department off because it's a holiday, okay? They get their holiday pay. The road crew was off, correct? For their holiday pay. So if it snows on a holiday, we're not gonna get snow removal then because we gave them the day off.
No.
No.
So I don't get what you're getting at here then. You're gonna call the road crew
You
in on a
only got so
holiday.
many days, which word don't you understand? You only got so much money in the well. If they're on a holiday, it's double time and a half.
Okay, so,
Now you get
so the
two days.
overtime is an issue, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah,
You don't wanna pay the
we
holiday
would
pay and
rather
overtime.
pay the guys to have more coverage later on instead of
But you'll pay the overtime
having
for the road department if there's a snowstorm on a holiday to get the road
Yeah,
plowed.
and if I go over budget, I gotta take from my other budget, my summer
Yeah, we
work.
cut.
let me,
It's a give and take.
I got an easier
These are
question
the
for you.
tough decisions we gotta make,
when
yes.
you make those scheduled decisions,
Yes,
you three are making that decision?
yes.
Okay. And when you make that decision, what background do you guys have to make that decision for the best interest of the community? And if not, if you haven't done it before, did you ever call an HR department person that does this manager, might piss off the police when you tell them what the schedule's gonna be. But when you see it, to manage the time for the best interest of the business that they're running, you know, like a hospital, you'd be surprised the schedules that you would do to get that done. For instance, I'll give you 2 quick questions. How much overtime did you spend last year on police? How many hours, roughly?
What did we actually had the.
Hours figured, I remember seeing it on
We
one of
probably
those.
had like 600 hours of
Of them,
overtime.
how many of them, let's start top down, how many of those 600 hours did Mr. Belts use?
105.
100 of them, and how many, who's the next guy?
Yeah.
Boney would be
Bone
next.
Noodle, I don't know the exact numbers, but the highest.
It's like 110 maybe. The
Okay.
other one would be 125.
The other one was-
So 600 hours at time and a half is basically like 900 hours or one half a year with an extra person.
Right.
So if you lost some of the overtime by having the extra amount of people, you've saved money and provided more service for the benefit of the community. Now you're making a decision based upon the benefit of the citizens rather than the benefit of just your budget. How am I best using it for the benefit of those people? And if you did it with only 700 hours, you just saved 200 hours and you got more service to the people that are there. That type of decision-making is the difference in attitude by the responsibility of who's governing whom. And that's what I think is missing a lot of times. And then when you're in the meeting and you're saying, wait a second, why are you questioning me? And then you pull out this paperwork and say, here's how I did it. And if you're smarter than that, tell me, and be open-minded about it. And if you're not smarter than that, then I guess this is what we're doing until someone is. Hey, anybody else want to look at it? Because if we can do it smarter, let's do it. And then you measure it against the service to the community as your goal to decide whether something is better or not better. Not because Brenda decided, hey, I like this place, let's go closer. No offense, Brenda, but you know, it's an opinion, and you have the ear of people that are doing it. It would be vetted out against the, what is the most hours towards the most benefit to the least dollar. That's your criteria. And therefore, it either does or does not hold water. And as soon as it does, you adopt it, and as soon as it doesn't, you
And
don't.
there's other, it's not just that easy though.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Every
You're-
business
no,
does the
no,
same
it isn't.
thing.
No, it isn't. Did you ever hear a thing called a union?
Sure.
They have rights. You can't just do what you want. They have rights and you gotta negotiate everything through the unions.
Well, you
It's
got
not
to
that-
negotiate or
Or what?
accept the responsibility that you're doing, right, to their negotiation, and then do it to the best interest of what you're aiming for. You're still doing it for the best interest of the community of what's available by the rules that are there. Now, if you're a good negotiator with unions, which there's a lot of people in this community that are, you can work with that to say, hey, look, guys, I'm gonna give you a couple days off during the summer because Thanksgiving is a pretty big holiday and I want you to service my community. What do I need to give you back to get this for that? And that's what you're doing anyway. But to just relinquish it because it's easy is not the goal of what you're aiming for. You gotta aim for a measured value to the community.
And I feel we did.
I know, and that's the point, but you're doing it with such a limited amount of
No, we're just not doing it
experience.
to your way. That's-
No, you're not doing it.
Yes, that is. You wanna like come in here and tell us which way to run it, and we're trying to run our budget, and we have numbers that we gotta come in, and we're doing the best we can.
But you're going towards a parameter that you're aiming for a budget number.
And we took what holidays are the best to work with and work that they don't have to work. It's no different than we have a guy who calls in sick, you know, what do we do? That could be a good day for a heart attack for somebody. That guy who's not in, we don't have 365-day coverage. We just don't. We don't have 24/7 coverage.
What did you
We
make?
don't. And negotiating a contract's not gonna get us there, and checking your hours of
Go ahead.
management, we have unions. We gotta go by their rules, and yes, we do. Actually, right before I came here, I was just with the union negotiating.
And who did you
With the
use
police
besides
unions.
your personal experience to make that decision?
For what?
For when you negotiate with this union guy? What team did you put together to help make this decision?
The boards.
I know, that's the point. You don't have to do it with just 3 guys. You're elected to help us so we can help you. Let the people that are in the community do that help so that you can make a better decision. You'll look smarter because you put a better team together. And the end result will be an answer that benefits the company, makes it profitable, or makes it more service, or makes it a benefit. And if an AED shows up on your lap, how can I utilize this for the best interest of the people, not just whether or not it's gonna cost me money to refurbish it. Thanks a lot for handing it to me, but you know, it's gonna cost me X number of dollars I don't have. When you told me you don't have an AED, I was ready to volunteer one, and you're telling me they already had one and they gave it back. I'm just saying that it's a different attitude. If you make the attitude, not that you're burdened by the responsibility, but the town is burdened by the responsibility, and you're executing as if you're a manager overseeing it. That's what you're missing. And it's evident all across the board. And it's dogma.
I think the township's running pretty smooth, and I think a lot of people agree with that. We have people who compliment us all the time for the especially like you said, we don't get paid hardly anything for this, and I'm not in it for the money, that's for sure. I'm not in it for it at all.
I just asked that, like I said, it's been a year with that garbage truck. And like I said, I don't remember the years, the exact months or the dates, but I know the used wanted a bid of $9,000, somewhere around there, 9,500, give or take. And he's got a bid of 6,000.
I don't know what it was.
So if you get $1,000 for that, you cost us $5,000.
That was a different board too when that decision was made.
But not just that.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but even last year, this board was here last year, and I know, Robbie, I know you're busy, you have stuff to do. Last winter was very hectic, but in a year's worth of time, to take some pictures and put that up for bid, I don't know if you use municipal bid, I don't know what you use to auction stuff off. Get some money, put it back in, invest it, make us some money. I just ask you to be, not save us money now and cost us more in the long run with certain things.
He took parts off it, right?
Cylinder.
So, yeah.
I'm guessing this one cylinder probably costs $1,500.
Well, and that's fine, but I mean, the rest is just sitting up there before, you know, all the hoses are dry. I'm sure Tamaqua Transfer would love to have that as a parts piece, but it's not doing any good sitting up there rusting away. It's not making.
It got its parts. Anything else? Anybody? All right, then we'll move on to unfinished. Any unfinished business? Then we'll move on to new business. Motion to accept Donald Dorwood's 90-day time extension for the review and approval of the Donald Dorwood subdivision plans.
I'll make a motion to approve Donald's and Susan Norwood's subdivision plans.
I'll second both of them.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, you did both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I need a motion to adopt, tentative adoption of the budgets. All the funds, general fund, state liquid fuel fund, sewer operating fund, rec fund, fire hydrant, road equipment, capital project, garbage collecting equipment fund, capital reserve, police and equipment, capital reserve building, capital reserve employee benefit fund.
I'll make a motion to accept the budget.
I'll second it.
Question on the motion. When will that budget be published?
It's published, it can be viewed now, right?
Yeah.
It's available for the 30-day
Review?
review for now, yeah.
Yeah, I have to put an ad in to notify that it's open for 30 days before the next township meeting review.
So we can get a copy of it tonight?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I don't know if you,
Yeah.
did you make
Take
it?
quarters out, it's 25 cents.
I'll put $5 up, anybody that wants them.
Nah, I'd write a check to me.
Okay, adoption of the cooperation and sub-grant agreement with the Franklin Township Volunteer Fire Company. Through the Township Fire Company sub-grantee obtained a local share and account grant in the amount of $100,000 for the purchase of a brush fire truck. The agreement is entered in, incorporated the government and conditions of the distribution of the grant from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to the township. So I have a motion to adopt that.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to purchase a pole building from Pioneer Pole Buildings.
I'll make a motion to purchase that building.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to purchase a 1995 580 case Model L backhoe from the Heighton Water Authority.
I'll make a motion to purchase that.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now I need a motion to hire Leroy Kemmer Jr. as a temporary fill-in snowplow driver.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion authorizing secretary to advertise the board's intent to appoint independent auditors to audit all township 2014 accounts.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 questions from the press? Nothing? We'll have a motion to adjourn?
I'm not pressed, but I don't know if I can ask you this, but what were the prices for the backhoe and the pole building?
$24,000 for the backhoe. I went online, they're arranging with that, the hours and the condition I was on, anywhere from 26 to 30,000. They gave it at what their trade-in cost would be. Pole buildings, to connect the two together, it's 30 by 40 by 14.4 with a 3-foot entrance door and a 12-foot by 12-foot roll-up door. That was $10,500.
Thank you.
So that, when you get that pole building in now, the two buildings will be, you can walk from one end to the other without getting wet?
No.
No, we don't have, we'll eventually put entrance doors inside ourselves, but
Yeah.
they'll all be tied together,
Okay,
the two up back.
yeah, that's what I was just
You
trying to
have
get
an
at.
entrance door normal, right? You can
Yeah,
go from the middle
yeah.
one.
I just
Don't
gotta,
have the other way.
you're right.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Don't, I have it. I don't have that here with me, I don't know if I can get back to the office. If you can wait a minute or two. I forget to get her with the times, I gave her.
What's that?
Just what you should give. Okay. And, Max. No. Kelly Lane. I don't know, like, the budget, I mean, it's open now for public view, it won't be official
I'll pay them all.
So usually,
If you give it to me, we'll publish
this
it online.
is just what we get.
Who's got exclusive fire?
We'll say that.
I mean, we can have this, but it's gonna be
I'll
the
go make
same
copies.
They actually haven't been giving me.
It's sort of just all.
Like,
Yeah.
Mommy does not say anything.
See you later.
So I can have this one, yeah. And then, going policy.
For pads and stuff, but I can't.
That's what you use.
Look for it. Have it on hand.
I think
Sounds
which is basically what they're doing.
doesn't want to be bothered.
We're gonna call the solicitor.
Do you mind if I look at this? The Dorwood subdivision?
Possibly. I would think so.
Can I ask you a quick question? I'll turn this on just so I get it correct, that's okay, putting that on there. On the subdivision, there was a motion to table something about a maximum length of a road.
It's a flag lot.
Okay, so why'd you have to table that?
We didn't have our engineer's opinion on that.
Okay.
Usually they comment and he had no comment on it. So we just wanna talk to him, see what his opinion is. He could change what he wants.
So is it the maximum length for?
In our ordinance, or our subdivision.
Subdivision, is it like a main road or something like that?
No, it's just one of his lots.
Okay.
You know, so people don't have all the lots up front.
They know there was a nut missing on this, and I had found
He
it.
wanted a waiver
I
because
didn't know
he's.
what it was for,
yeah,
and I realized it was
Okay.
wrong on here.
Okay, so, what, do you know offhand what the maximum length is?
It didn't look like it was too much over, but sometimes, like, we want our comments from our engineer, because he knows maybe he could change something really bad.
So you're gonna-
I'll take it. Thanks, Gil.
Okay, and then,
We're coming.
Two phone calls.
is it the, oh, okay, this is the,
Hey, David, would you be able to, in your newspaper, would you be able to print the days that they're gonna have lights?
let me find another question.
I don't know when your paper comes out.
There are no tax increases or garbage increases either.
Yeah, you should have said that, that's important.
There's no tax increase and no garbage increase.
That's really important, no tax increase in the garbage.
That's important.
Right.
And the preliminary, we adopted the preliminary?
How you doing?
Well, it's a tentative budget.
It's open to the public,
Oh,
right?
okay, that's what you did tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
Did you, not think of me? I did. Oh, where's my copy? I just saw it.
Okay,
You know how? No.
and I'll just make sure I have everything correct.
You didn't ask.
Paul?
All right.
Okay,
One more time.
Paul,
Johnson.
and, I'm sorry, your last name again?
ER.
Robin. CRE. SSLE1.
And
Rod.
Rod,
Drink.
GRE and.
Like
This is where you guys were sitting. And I have your names for four. Okay, if that comes to me, I'll ask the question. I know I had one more, but. Okay. Thank you.
So you mentioned that you gave up the AEDs. What was the rationale there? Or that's just,
Oh, Lane, you're with me?
The chief got him, and I don't know if he had a problem with him or what the exact thing was, but he said he was getting rid of him.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
I think they need training on it.
We definitely need training, but I
Yeah,
mean, is
and I
that,
You
think,
get it as part of your CPR training.
yeah, but is
Oh,
that,
I-
right.
There's just
Okay.
a button to push, it tells you
it's still
exactly
gotta be
right on
trained.
it, how to do it.
You gotta be trained, that's
Right, I agree,
okay.
gotta be
Not
trained.
hard.
It's easy training, but it's gotta be trained. But
I don't know
as a
what
community, not having that, when I heard that you didn't have them, I thought everybody had them by now. When I heard you didn't have them, I'm ready to go donate some, but you gave them up? I
We
mean,
had a QRS through the fire company, Quick Response Service,
Right,
and one of the requirements, the new requirements from DOH, you know, which is a good thing,
Right.
was that each one of the responders had to have an AED in their car. It's $1,200 for the four of us that were QRS, and the fire company could not come up with $5,000 to equip us all. We got one,
right.
but we could not find enough money to equip us all. If I'd known at the time that the PD was gonna send them back or whatever they did with them, I said, send them over here to the QRS and we can still qualify as QRS. We're all EMTs, we're all EMT advanced, we're all, but,
The point that I'm trying to make is that that decision was based upon somebody's information, not based upon the community's benefit. If it was more work to do the job for the benefit, somewhere the supervisors have to say, look, I don't care if you're not comfortable with it, do the work and get it done, because I want my town to have this.
well, there's another
And
piece to that.
That's control.
There's another piece to that that you brought up, and that is involving some of the citizens.
this is the
If
same
somebody
thing you're gonna
said
get
that
in
the
December,
police
nothing's
department
changed.
needs
Usually say you
training.
give that to December. but
I'm
I
a
did it
qualified
because I
trainer.
figured
I'm
people
an
would be here
instructor,
complaining
okay?
and
And
carrying
I've been
on,
for
so
many years.
not a-
I'd be happy to do it for the cost of the roster. Cost me $25 to turn in a roster, big deal. And AHA gives out all the cards.
Yeah, exactly right. I
You
mean,
guys want training?
No, do it a year.
but to not go to the community to ask how the community can help you, puts you guys in an adversarial position constantly. And even you look at me like we're adversarial, we're not. We're actually looking at how do you not take the responsibility of the burden of making the decision
Yeah.
by having
I
those
remember
people
when
collect the information for you
Paul
on what
Service
you
was
can
trying
make
to
the
get an
decision.
engineer.
Hey, guy, put it out as a high school project. It's an old joke that we used to
I
do
remember
for
the one
design
guy
and engineer
complaining about
class, right?
Somebody had a dog, oh yeah. they're-
Hey, I need something that'll design from here to here and give it away and I'll give $100 to whatever kid can solve it. What are you really doing? Paying $100 to tap their brains to get information. You can do the same thing with the community, say, hey, I got this much in a budget and these many people, what's the best way to do it? And I bet if you called up your local hospital, they have a program that they use constantly for just this purpose. It's a computer program. They type in the number of people, the qualifications of them, and the times that they need to have it, and the service hours that they're doing. And
high school? The machine?
AED.
AED.
Yeah, I think he said there's another one called a QED, I believe. But the reality is there's a burden there, and that burden does not have to be shared, but the supervision does have to make that decision to say, you know, if you bought a new program and Brenda had to learn it, she might buck back and say, I don't want to learn that. But somewhere along the line, the boss says, you're going to learn it. And that's the difference between a democracy and responsibility that I think is missing. And when you have a zoning officer, did you see the most recent thing going on with Floodgate or not? With her property? You're not even aware of what's going on?
No, you said that the news thing, what?
The Pam Floodgate with the property on 209, are you guys aware at all of what's happening on that property? Where does that stand? And why does it take a year to get the permit?
Because she's not filling out the paperwork.
Which paperwork did she need to fill out?
Right there, he says, ask him,
I know.
don't ask me.
Well, we already did. I'm asking, do you know? Because he works for you.
Right.
Do you know what she's missing?
I know she needed the last, I don't know exactly, but I know the septic was a question.
That was squared away.
That was squared away.
ENS.
I know at one time it was the state highway permit,
It was,
so she needed an occupancy
yeah,
permit.
and the parking. Every time she changed a business in there, she never got a permit, an occupancy. It's a different business, you gotta get an occupancy. She never did that for any of her businesses. I know something with parking spaces.
She never does anything she's supposed to do.
No, and
She just flies by whatever she wants to do.
Yes.
See, and that's the problem, and I know you're probably friends with her, laptops, and she's filling your.
I'm friends with freedom. I'm friends with the fact that somebody has the freedom to make a decision.
Right.
And the responsibility to deal with it.
Let me tell you this, if she would be in Allentown, she'd probably be shut down by now. My business, I work in Allentown and Bethel all the time.
I don't know what your business is.
You can't even afford it with, yeah, you know my business, you wrote about me, and you're.
What's your business?
A construction company.
Okay, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which
So
business?
anyhow,
Are you general construction or what kind of construction?
general contractor.
Like, so you do,
Building homes, building additions, building garages, whatever, but anyhow, I work in Bethel. 95% of my work is in Bethel. You can't do nothing without her.
She's the only one that has it.
Just even a change of use, if she would be in Bethel, she would have been shut down and thrown in jail
And they won't.
so fast, and it makes me laugh when these people up here buck the system. I gotta pay my dues down there.
Right.
I can't, like I said, I can't do nothing
We don't carry
without a permit. Then I come up here, and trust me,
Yeah,
I believe,
can you get a permit from one guy or one guy or more than one guy can you get your permit from?
You can do it through the
Yeah,
city.
that's
Yeah, but how many people
That's
can
what's
provide
in
that
there.
permit?
No, and they don't know yet,
Usually, you
but
have one building
there's
inspector.
money in there, so
They have their
usually
city building inspector, that's
last year we
it.
budgeted 15,000.
I was working,
in
when I
that
graduated
plan.
high school, I was in
But
South
next year they're
Whitehall.
gonna put
In
5,000.
1981, I graduated.
They need to get
I
that
went to work in
explorer
South Whitehall
implementation too.
building. And
So
at that
that's
time, in
what's now,
1980,
that's-
they were worse than we are
This
now.
is the
In
grant that we
1980.
got from the best. That's
And
gonna come out of their
we
equipment
hated it,
fund.
but you know what it
Just
did
vehicle,
make
any
us do?
equipment.
You put good homes,
That
and
is.
your liability was
that's-
down. And
Correct.
it taught you to do
More or
the right
less,
thing.
there was,
Then I
we were
come
told
up
someone's
here.
gonna donate.
Well,
It's the Wild West.
And I started building up here, and
Yes.
I'm building,
See,
and I
that's
see
what
other
we
people
got,
building, and I'm
so
like, wow.
somebody was.
I can't believe they're
to
allowed
match
to do that. Well, then I
donation
found out
to
why,
cover the
well,
rest
then
of the
codes
grant.
come in. And at
That's
first
what
I was
the
like, I
township-
don't agree with codes,
No,
because you should
another
know.
missed one.
But I
didn't
found
know,
out-
yeah.
Because they're, no, it's to maintain a standard.
Not just that,
That's
people are,
what we should have, and then.
Right,
that's what
yeah,
we-
it's
okay,
maintain
you're
standard.
protecting them.
That's the
Correct.
balance for next.
From
No,
themselves.
and then when we
So
do
if they need a car.
create a law, and we didn't create
Yes.
UCC, the government
Exactly,
did,
yeah.
and we gotta enforce
That's what I was
it.
trying to
People
figure
get
out.
mad because they're used
When I
to
see
the old
that
way.
kind of money, I don't.
And I
So
know
that's a
there's
different,
laws.
that's a different
Seems
logic.
like it would be.
The
But
question
you gotta
is,
comply, you gotta comply with the
Planning
rules.
to have police
And-
I have not.
Oh, yeah.
She's just not complying with the rules. And I'm not saying she's
Right,
right
they
or
were
wrong,
not going.
but she's
Just
gotta
got carried
follow the
away.
rules, just like I do. When I go for a permit, I gotta follow the rules.
but the value to the supervisors is that they can add to the flow of making sure that A,
I
someone,
try to, I personally, listen, I'm gonna tell you a story that you probably
You
didn't
see it
see.
in all these.
I
townships.
personally, now,
The
I
township
don't
just
get
had
paid
that
to sit here,
Wanted to
I
shut
get paid
down
a salary a
the
year, which is $1,800. Okay? You can put that in the paper, $1,800 a year, right? But anyhow, to help that floodgate problem be smoother,
right?
we went up to
Well,
litigation, not litigation, mediation,
between,
mediation.
between the four of
I forget what they call it.
Arbitration.
Well, it wasn't arbitration.
Well,
Where
yeah.
a lawyer
Nobody
listens to
works.
her lawyer and our
Right,
lawyer, and we're negotiating and then we're like,
28
okay,
hours
you
is
do this,
full,
and that'll be
that's
fine.
without
And then
vacation
we
days,
almost had
holidays,
it
anything.
sort of hammered out. I
You
thought
don't
we really
actually
did some
work,
great
never
work.
work
And then she
28
started going,
unless you have overtime.
well, I also want the neighbor to move his sign. It's like, what?
They get
I don't mind the
holidays.
orders. But the,
Where
back up,
she
when you went to
came up
that,
with that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not getting paid to sit here. Everybody was getting paid to sit there. All the
wait,
lawyers.
all those people, when they got paid, who paid each one? She paid her lawyer. Who paid ours?
But they,
We did.
they sometimes
Meaning
don't have
we did.
choices.
Yeah.
Not you, it didn't come out of your pocket, it came out of
Like
her
when we budgeted. they
So
were
the question
figuring
is, the more litigation,
Right.
the more chaos.
I mean, if
So
they're
she's
in the middle
costing
of
us money.
and then when
Correct.
it's their days,
So to be able to understand that chaos and prevent that chaos and smooth over the chaos would add value to the
It
community.
is, the pay schedule.
Probably would have been to shut her down like we could have.
Or-
That would be
Magistrate.
stupid.
Well, wait a second,
Works with,
can't
usually he
shut
tries to
someone
work
down
their schedule and
unless
try
you
to
have
report on
cause.
their schedule,
Right.
when they're doing
Just
their
can't because they're a pain in the ass, you can't shut them down.
No,
They gotta-
we're not, she's not.
You know, that's all.
They gotta have cause.
God forbid something happens there.
The state, well, wait a second, the state
Gonna call it 10 and 3.
gave him a reprimand for trying to shut them down without cause.
They gotta say,
Did you get a copy of that reprimand
Yeah,
letter?
because he was too lenient. He kept giving her
you know,
extensions and extensions without writing it down.
But wait, it was an extension on a permit that's supposed to be answered within 30 days.
He bit him in the ass, yes.
Wait, where's the extension for the 30 days?
Can I just ask you?
Why are you getting an extension on 30 days? Either yes or no, and here's what you do or don't need. It's gotta be a direct, the whole idea is that it has to be definitive. When you make decisions that are not definitive and statements that are not definitive, and it's wishy-washy and it's not documented, it adds to the chaos, which adds to the cost, which adds to the chaos, which adds to the
That's
cost.
what he learned. He's got to document everything. They were working,
Right?
not that.
him and the old zoning officer were working to try to get her to comply.
Right.
Comply, and the next thing you know, she didn't. And trying to-
Well, that chaos is still taking place, because it's not documented, it's not it. They're actually asking for an ENS soil permit, but the conservatory said that it's too small a property to do that, so they're asking for something that they can't get.
What's the full building?
And that's where it's stuck now.
The paver back.
Either remove the obligation,
School.
or thank you.
Why, there's no such thing as it's too small to get.
Yeah.
Say it again now?
There's no such thing as it's too small to get. What do you
The conservation
I really am.
said they can't do it. You're asking that, for them to do it, right?
Well, then they should put in writing and say they can't do it.
They did, and Bill Heffley got that answered as well. I checked it, Gene Papay sent a letter to say, yeah, this makes sense, it's,
Do.
you can't ask for something you can't get.
Where is that paper in writing, so he can be waived from the
We'll
ENS?
definitely be going for
Where
it,
is
but
that?
there's some other things that we might.
That, I'm assuming their lawyer has it, right, or your lawyer has it?
I
Assume.
didn't want to say.
Yeah, I'm assuming, somebody has to have it, right?
You know what they say?
As
Assume.
I agree, so rather than doing that, I would go to the supervisors and say, step in here and figure this out.
No, I
Now,
would say, show me the paper, and just like we,
that's
the
a
waiver
waiver.
here, we'd say, yes, you got a waiver. But you didn't get a waiver.
so you're saying there's a waiver process for the CNS survey?
Yeah, because then he's taking responsibility. That's a county issued mandate put on our township. And we got it, in our rules, we don't have nothing to do with soil erosion.
Right.
But it's in our laws, because we're the bottom of the barrel, we gotta enforce it. So we
Right.
say, you gotta go with ENS.
You hand it to someone else,
And he gives the
All that
permit.
happens,
Right.
so that's what, that's.
Now, he's not giving the permit, why?
but I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
And you say you don't have to, so he should wrote back and in a letter and said, they do not need it because then that takes the liability off of us if, God forbid, the banky roads.
Right.
Then
But there's somewhere along the line, as a supervisor, as a manager, as the responsible party, you don't pick up a phone and say, let's get this done?
The owner takes the bull by the
Or both, right.
Her, the owner, if that was my property, I would be on that phone and say, listen, I want it in writing
To whom?
to ENS.
Which they got,
Where is it?
gave it to him.
Carl,
Do you have an ENS?
do you have an ENS waiver from Floodgate? No. Here.
Do you have a letter from,
And by the time I get
who actually generates the report?
What are we talking, what are we talking ENS?
Floodgates, ENS.
So I have
said-
to.
Who has-
It's beyond DNF, she just do land development because of what our Saldo says in the zoning office, in the zoning office.
No, that.
That's the problem.
What happened to the ENS?
Chris
From
Storm.
Chris Storm.
Chris Storm you're talking about.
Chris Storm from the ENS,
ENS.
for the
She's
ENS.
Eastern Conservation District.
All right, well, Chris Storm said that it's too small of a property or doesn't meet the requirements to get that done.
For an ENS. For no, it's right. You don't need an ENS. Problem is, she has to do land development.
Okay, so he had to do a land development for it?
No, if you don't do it, her engineer will do land development.
When was the last time you had a conversation with that location?
120 photos on this phone.
When I told her she had to do land development and gave her all the information, and that's when she called Heffley's office, and then Heffley's office called you guys, and then the engineer was involved, the engineer agreed with my decision. So I had, in fact, I even talked to the engineer before I told her she had to do land development to verify I was correct in my interpretation of the zoning ordinance in Saldo, which I was.
Let me try this.
She has to do land development.
Let me try this for kicks, just shits and giggles. If you owned the property, would you make different decisions than she's making?
So what's she making?
That's what I'm saying. Would you make a different, if you own that property, knowing what you know, would you make a different decision for her than what she's making?
I still understand what you're getting at.
It's a tough one.
He's asking if you break the rules.
Not break the rules. No, not actually break the rules. No, I'm not actually break the rules. I did not say that. Don't put that in my mouth. I'm asking.
But that's what she's doing.
No.
Trying to skirt
I'm
the
saying,
rules.
would you, no, that's not what I'm asking. To make sure we're not, don't misunderstand this very
But that's
clearly.
what she's trying to do.
I'm not saying she's trying to break the rules. I'm saying, knowing the information, if you own the property, Carl, if you own the property, would you make a different decision that follows the rules that would allow that process to stop so it doesn't go to litigation? Carl? Carl, I'll take care of it. Would you make a decision different?
I don't own the property, I'm the zoning officer, I have to enforce what the Saldo says and what the zoning ordinance says, which we did.
That's not what I'm asking. No.
That's what I'm telling you.
I know, but I'm asking a different question.
My attorney told me not to say a word to you, answer the questions as far as what ordinances say, and that's what I'm doing.
This is what I'm getting at. When he doesn't answer a question for the benefit of the applicant,
But didn't he have this stuff on there?
it just adds more litigation to Schwab's people. Who's giving him advice to say, don't answer anything. That's where you guys as a supervisor can say, look, I want to stop the chaos and the mess. I'm gonna have the zoning officer make decisions in the best interest, still following the law, but in the best interest of the
That's what he's
applicant.
trying to do, he's following the law.
But he's
Following the law.
No, I didn't say following the law.
I have to follow the law.
You have to follow the law.
That's right.
But I'm saying, but in a way that is in the best interest of the applicant.
So you're telling me is, I should have just left, give her the permit to do what she wanted to do, even though it broke the law?
No, that's not what I'm saying, it's completely different. I'm saying that, is there a value in the system that allows you to meet the system but help the applicant?
I help the applicant all the time. I just helped that man right there.
You help them to litigation.
Write it on here.
You help them to litigation.
Yeah, that's why I'm
That's
really
what I'm trying to say is the difference, right? You're not trying to break the law, you're trying to make the decision as advice. I go into a guy that owns a large boiler, and I say, you can rip this thing apart, pay me $100,000, or I can clean it for you, $80,000.
Okay, well, we need this
Which one do I want
What is that?
the best, which way do you want to go? Which way do you want to go? I give him the two options available for both choices. Do I tell him only the one that I know is the most money for me, or would I give him both?
Wait, just do this.
I want him as a repeat
All right, see
customer.
ya.